All right,
Oh,
and
thank
we'll
you.
turn it over to you, Dr. Chuang, if you want to introduce
Oh,
yourself and talk about all the exciting things we're going to learn tonight.
okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your short introduction. And, but welcome, I think, because I'm a faculty here and I actually remember, recognize some of your names here. So you can just call me Samson, and recently retired from NASA, and then slowly ramping up to see more patients and teaching more classes at the Five Branches University. And I'm so glad to attend these happy hours. So let me share my screen, and today we will look at the, the year of the rabbit, and let me share the whole screen here, the presentable. So basically, it was presented in Chinese earlier. So as Ruben said, that last year, 2022, happens to be February 15 as well. We do this program, and this year is slightly different because the Lunar New Year came a little bit earlier. So normally the Lunar New Year is coming in February timeframe, but actually this year, the year of the rabbit come earlier. So this presentation actually presented earlier in the School of Herpetology in Cantonese. But anyway, and then we will do it today anyway. So I always like to look at the almanac, and because the Chinese almanac has interesting. Maybe when I was a little boy, my grandmother showed it to me. So it always opened the first page, and then the first page has the cow, and then a cowboy. And then basically there's a left-hand side and right side. There's a poem. Hopefully, do you see? Oh, do you see? Okay. You see my cursor. So there's a poem kind of telling you, drawing an image from the poem. And then also this is an image as well. And then from I call it cowboy when I was a little boy. But from the cowboy, then you know whether next year will be dry or wet. Because he's a farmer, so when he wear shoes, that means a dry year. When he nowhere is a barefoot, that means a wet year. So a little thing like that, and then so whether this boy is behind the cow or in front of the cow also means the first day of spring is come before or after the Lunar New Year, something like that. So there's some things in there. Maybe back in the old days, they actually built this pair. I mean, the cowboy and the cow in paper, and then the color and the height of the cow also showing showing some meaning behind it. So back in those days, if you do not know how to read, then you can still look at the image, have some idea. But today we just look at the poem that's written down on the left and right, and see how the almanac say. So it say we are entering the year of the water rabbit. The water generally wood because rabbit is wood, dew yeast, and water rabbit, so water generate wood. So water generates wood is a peaceful credit. However, spring got rain, but autumn less, make the high field slide to a lower land. So that it means that at the very beginning of the year, spring, we got more rain, but then the autumn getting less rain. So back in the old days, rains is important, but now we should interpret as because they apply to the whole country or even the whole world. So actually, it means you can look at rain as a supply. The supply of the spring is enough, but the supply in the autumn, after autumn, is not enough. So that can be interpreted this way. So, and then it makes the high field slide to a low ground. So now there's an image going on. Exactly what it means it depends on the interpretation. But what it means when there's something high, it will go down. So it will love that the inflation rate, high inflation rate to go down, but it could because of the Fed doing something. But also something is getting too much, will getting going down as well. But this line is following the previous line. That means when the surprise is not enough after the autumn, then we will have some sliding. Sliding is not too good, right? So some fall or some trouble or worries after that. And then the other poem is the following: half happy, half worry with speechlessness. In Chinese, it means that you have no choice. Half happy, the whole year will be half happy and half worried. And then only heaven knows abundance and scarcity. That means it means that only God knows what happens. So that means human being has less power from these two sentences. And then it say blueberry price is high, but the silkworm are hungry. At least the quality of the silk is better than before. So back in the old days, the silk the silk making clothes, and then they will sell to outside. Today we don't rely on these things, so it should be interpreted as a expensive goods, or like luxurious car or high-end product, something like that. So if you think about how silk clothing is being made, so first of all we'll have a silkworm. Okay, you raise the silkworm and then you basically harvest it. Once they wrap themselves up, and then you harvest it, and then there's a process that you cook it, and then you cook it, and then you make the silk untangle, and then you make it like a yarn, and then you have a merchant to sell it out. So that's the process. So you can see the most lowered one will be the silkworm. So like say any like Tesla, which is an expensive car. So we have workers, okay, assemble the cars, and then we have people do the design, the engine, and then do the stuff, and then somebody sell it. So the worker is the silkworm, okay, and then it will do the luxurious car. So the luxurious price is getting higher. So the product is high, maybe because we don't have enough supply. I don't know, but we'll see. And then, but the silkworm, that means the lower labor. That means the people in the grassroots are hungry. So you work, but you do not get your fair share, basically. Like the silkworm get the silk for us, but they are hungry. Okay. But at least the quality of the silk is better than before. So that sounds like there is slightly good things happens. It could means that the high-end technology has advanced that line, but then but to me it may not be too good, because when the richest become richer, when the poorest become poor, that will make the society separate. So that's how we can look at the poems. Okay. So and then under that under that figures, and there's another poem, but this poem kind of about the similar things, and so that is said that the Jupiter is the year of the rabbit. Various things are half happy and half worry. Rains and hails in the spring and summer, no water, autumns and winter. So they basically is paraphrase the poem of the cow. Flax and trees are mature in the northern area. Crops are beautiful in the eastern side. It's telling you the location where it's better than the other. people have many sickness, animal have bad qi. This means bad qi. And then the silkworm worker are busy, carry basket but weeping. So the people, the ladies who carry the basket, transporting the silk worm or getting the silk, the raw silk to the manufacturer, they are weeping. So the worms are hungry and the workers are weeping. Okay. Although there's a lot of silk, it takes a lot of effort. So in this poem or this side, it actually tells similar thing, but not exactly. The previous poem saying that at least we have a very good, expensive product, but here more focus on the worker or lower level people at that in this poem. Okay, so and then again, this one has people have sickness and animal have bad qi. So that has been coming for a few years actually. So this year is not like going away easy. So that's what happens. Last year, 2020, we also see similar thing, saying that we have animal got sick. Okay, that's what we had last year. And then we have a few instances over the world. And then, of course, at the end of the year, we still remember the eggs were extremely expensive from our supermarket because of the chicken flus and because of the inflation. So that was kind of reflected that. Okay, so this is telling you where the east side was the west side, but let's not worry about it. And of course we have tools to predict what's going to happen next. And these are basically the river map and magic square and 河图洛书. And these are the tools we use. And of course we use the bagua as well. And then there's a pre-heaven bagua and also the post-heaven bagua. And then the post-heaven bagua actually has number associated to it. And then once we have these tools, we can basically can matching stuff. And here is the second page of the almanac, but I translated for you to a very simple one. So, but actually, this little is a compass. This is a compass, and it telling you direction. And then just like Chinese medicine, the top is north, and then the bottom is south. This is east, and this is west. Okay, so just like Chinese medicine. So what it's showing you is the free evil position. Do not stand on that position. So the free evil position basically is a due west. Okay, so a little bit of the southwest and a little bit of the northwest. But basically the whole west position is not a good position to stand. It's in the year of the rabbit. So if you are negotiating certain things, you're buying a house or whatever, you're in a very strong negotiation pace, then make sure you are not sitting, make sure you're not sitting in the west side. Your opponents or your negotiators sitting on the east side. You should sit on the east side. Okay. So yeah. So we don't, because this is where the Jupiter or the rabbit is located. So we want to stay in this side, but not opposite to it. So you love to be stay in the east, and then your opponent stay in the west. So you have more power in terms of negotiation. Okay, and also it means that the west side is a little bit more difficult. And then that means California, will be a little bit more difficult in compare with other places as well. So if you look at the Rocky Mountain, and so the west side of the Rocky Mountains will be a little bit more difficult, and then the east side of the Rocky Mountains will be a little bit easier. So maybe why Texas is crazy now, is booming. Texas growth. Okay, so similar to the Canada, because the whole Rocky Mountain, the vein is going all the way up to Canada. So that's basically telling you this year is very simple, because of a clear cut of all the positionings due to the west. And then I translate this one to you, and it will be like this. And this year is very difficult to predict, in a sense, because we have this cycle, right? And then 180 years is the full cycle, and then 60 years in another cycle, and then every 20 years is another cycle. So we are in the end of the 20-year cycle now. 2023 is the end of the end of the this 20 years cycle. So in other words, so in this cycle, that means 2004 to 2023, number 8 is in the center. So 2024, 2024, the center will not be 8 anymore. The center will be 9, and then all the number will be shifted accordingly. So normally when we are in the connection, or from one place moving to another, from one cycle moving to another cycle, there are swell, and there's a turmoil. Then things are a little bit more difficult to predict, because things moving much. But we just say, okay, so according to these numbers, this number is just like the law shu, the magic square number. Now we have two numbers combined. Okay, which one is supposed to be the best? And actually, there's no best number. I think that the best number is the south and the north. The combination 3-8 and 4-9 seems to be the best position to be. Okay, in a negotiation, you want to be in the east, but in the normal place, that means the south and the north are pretty good. So so if your house has window or main entrance are facing south and facing north, it will be a pretty good house to live and happiness as well. So here's some tips for your house. The west is not a good position to sit when negotiating. I just said that. And then the northeast, which is 2-7, generate the 2-7. Okay. 2-7 is fire, which will generate earth, and 2 is earth. Earth means sickness and disaster. So so it will also appears that in the northeast side of every country or every continent, there will be some sickness going on. And since the almanac talk about the sickness of the people and the animal, so all probably coming from that area of a continent as well. So to United States will be like Maine, okay, Maine or Boston side of it, or even higher up to the Canada as well. And if it is in our house, so we don't want to make this number 2, that means the earth, to be very strong. So so earth would love to generate metal, so you will put some metal on the northeast side that will make the 2 not furious, so that will calm it down. Okay, and the main door facing the south east which is 3-7. Okay, the wood and the metal is easy to have argument, quarrel, or in court. I mean, see somebody in court. So that's what it means. So the better position will be the north part and the south part as well. I think the north is slightly better than the south. Okay, so that is the case. So we normally will take the first days of spring, and then the first day of spring in Washington D.C. I'm sorry, I put it in Chinese because it was presented in Chinese, and this is the 八字 of the first day of spring, which is the February 3rd at 9 p.m. So this is the 八字, and then with the 八字, and then we will apply the number to the 八字, and then we can get the hexagram from that, and then we get the earth, okay, and then the second line change. So what that means? So we will learn something from the book of change, and then it say, now in this case the family means the whole country now. Okay, it say the family that accumulate goodness is sure to have superabundance happiness, and the family who accumulate evil is sure to have superabundant misery. The murder of the ruler by his mister, or his father by a son, or not as a result of the event of one morning or one afternoon. So this sentence means that you're supposed to have your own position. A father looks like a father, and a minister looks like a minister serving the king, and so on. So, but now people are the lower level people, like the son will kill his father, and like the minister will murder the ruler, the king. So that means the people under will rebellate, would not like the people higher level people. So the cause of it has gradually accumulated. So it's not one day thing. So it's gradually accumulated through the absence of the early discrimination. The problem surface, and we should observe that it is the result of accumulating wrongdoing. Okay, so that is the teaching of the hexagram, the Kun hexagram, and that, and then the second line change. And then it actually show something, and then once it's changed, we have the earth over water. Earth over water is Si means, Si means army. In the old days, a troop of army is Si. Okay, so it can consider as a troop of army, or a mass action, military actions, and so on. So it looks like because of the Ukraine situation, so most likely the United States will step up, or put more money, or put more weapons into the region as well. And it say that the line actually say that being strict, square, and great, its operation without repeat effort will be in every respect advantage. So as long as you are strict, square, and big, then it looks like military. In the old days, they have a square military things. Okay, then you'll be great. Something. So this is what we get from the hexagram. But we can still look at the 八字, and then the 八字 you can. This is the 八字, and then we can see that there's only water and wood. There's only water and wood, and there's only one metal. And because we have water create wood, and then the metal, and then the metal will actually create water, right? So that metal disappear. Okay. And so there's no fire and earth elements in the 八字. So it means that this year, the representation of these two phases would be a 艺术, fire and earth. And then metal is diminishing. Okay, so what it means is that phase, that metal phase, is also being controlled or being suppressed. Okay, so there are many things about fire and earth, But interesting enough, if you look at the Chinese character, fire and earth, and you combine it, actually this is, combine these two characters, it is the Chinese character, stove, cook stove. So if the fire and earth are in trouble, that means the cooking stove are in trouble. So the eating and the people are living as they topics. Okay, livelihood as a topic, grassroots issue. In other words, I'm sorry. Some stove, right? Eat. So people like people. The basic thing is to eat, right? I would consider as a grassroots issue. Okay, so because of that, there was certain violence as well. Okay, so come from here, and since the metal is diminishing, so anything related to the metal will also should be considered. So, for example, mining, economy, and governing. Governing is also considered as a metal phase as well. Okay, so I think there might have so it means that in the Capitol Hill, there certain issue can never be resolved. And then this is California. This is California because 3 hours difference. So that is enough to give us another hexagram. And this is the California hexagram. After you put the numbers in, from the number, you can have the hexagram. And this is the wind. The wind over wind, and then the first line changed. Okay, the first line changed. So wind over wind. Okay, 顺卦. And then the 顺卦actually wrote has a line. Okay, has a line. As a line, it means the benefit of having samurai or warrior capacity. So hard to tell what is that means, but if we understand a warrior's capacity is not about war, as you know, the samurai, the Japanese warrior, they are not talking about war, right? Right, and the last resources is war. So the Jing or the so-called capacity is not about fighting. I suspect, right? Because the Chinese Wuren mean who are capable to using military power or power to do things, or even force to do things. So, but then because of the Jing, therefore that means is a necessity. So my understanding from the old that especially the East, the capacity of a warrior is not about fighting. It's about encouragement. You know, it's more about the encouragement than fighting. And because this is the wind trigram, hexagram, so that will be gone with the wind. I don't know what it means actually, but I suspect is all the budget that we had will be. I mean, we have a surplus. We have a pretty good surplus in California, and that's why we had some a tax refund all over the state. But now this year we've gone with the wind. So the budget is bad, and I think it's worse than what is proposed. So that's what it probably means. And also there's something that got broken, cannot be repaired. Because of the wood thing later on here. That could be because another round of the forest fire that cannot be replaced. I mean, 2022, the forest fire seems to be under control. Okay, but I think another round will coming into 2023. And then we have shortage of surprises after the autumn. And And then another image that is the cloudy but not rain. So it means that again, rain means surprise. Okay, yeah, and it may be because of our gas price as well. Our natural gas price is so high these days. All of a sudden, I don't know. Maybe that's. And then there is another prediction of this year is the earthquake in the Pacific Ocean. We are so close to the Pacific Ocean, and then that may have a earthquake. Hopefully, it will not create a tsunami, but there will be a feelable, sensible type of earthquake in the ocean. Hopefully, it's not hurting us, but we should feel it. And another one, this is the wood transformed to the metal, which attacks the the wood. So the wood phase is in trouble in California. So because of the bazi of the California is slightly different than the Washington DC. So maybe the housing definitely is gun. Gun is wood, considered as wood. Farming, forest, and BIMs. BIMs is like the BIMs on your house, the BIMs. Okay, but exactly what it is, I don't know. But that is the image that showing to us as well. Okay. Yes. So that is United States and California, and this one is the whole world because every year that since the Song Dynasty, every year we have there's a new hexagram coming out, and this hexagram this year last year I talked about Jijigua, and then this year is a new hexagram, and this hexagram is family. Okay, is wind over fire. The wind over fire is the family. So there's a few things you want to know about the hexagram. One thing is when God hurt. This is talking. This is why we have a giant. Okay, so the text saying that when someone got hurt, they will always go back to home. That's why after the Ming Yi Gua, after the previous hexagram, followed by the Jiayan Gua. Okay, so that's why it has it. And the meaning of family means internal. Okay, internal issue. And another thing, the text inside the hexagram is say, what is the most advantage is the wife be firm and correct. So basically, firm and correct means capacity again. But this one is talking about the wife, not the fighting, not the warrior. And so also again something capacity. Okay, but here translated as wife, but actually is nu is female. So because you have to realize that in the very early time, is actually the mother is the household, is the head of the household, and then the male actually go outside. Later on, then when we have a farming evolution of farming, then the men become dominant. Okay, but either way, even the men become dominant in the farming, but the women also control the stuff in the house as well. And so this is what the Confucius says. Remember, when the Confucius say something, that means this hexagram lack of that certain things. And that's why Confucius say that. So the Confucius say that in accordance with this, order his word according to the truth of things. So when we say something, you say something truth. He conducts so that it is uniformly consistent. So when you do something consistently. So in other words, when you say something with truth. When you do something with consistency. So it means that this year, we don't have that. We don't have that. That's why Confucius said these things to how to improve ourselves. So there's a lot of lies in the medias, and then there's a lot of untruth report as well. That is why we need to take the lessons. We want to be, when we say something, we want to say something with truth. And then people has changed. People don't have consistently doing things. That means they start something and then they move away. Okay, they start something, then they move away. So not uniformly consistent. Okay, so that's what they mean. So this is the sixth line of it. So very quickly, I want to show you a kind of interesting. Also learning some of the book of Chings as well. So the first line actually, lock a family, no regret. So actually, that Chinese character is a lock. So lock your family, there's no regrets. That means safety, don't you think? Then the second line says that no or don't. No long-term tunnel, but you can translate it as don't pursue outside. Okay, don't go outside. Now have meal in the family, good with persistence. Okay, so that this next thing is about meal. I mean, look at the image. The image is don't go outside, stay home to have food, to have meal, then doing things consistently. And the third thing is the family member, yell like, I don't know, this is mean yell loudly, then regret, then stern, then good fortune. Okay, then the next line is the wife and the children were to be smirking and chattering. In the end, there would be occasion of regret. So when you're too happy, you will regret. When you have yelling to each other because of the family member, but as long as you regret, you stern, and a good fortune will come. So that what does that mean? This means actually interaction of the family members. And then this is the lower bagua. This is bagua is the fire. So if we look at the whole things together, then you see what makes a family a family. What is a family supposed to have? Safety, eating. Okay, that's what we want. I mean, just a normal people want. We want to be safe in the society. We want to have something to eat in the society, and we want to have a social life in our society. So ABC 1, 2, 3. This is the three basic things for the whole world to looking for. Then the fourth line is make family strong and good fortune. So you have to have all these three things, then the family can go outside. I mean, in the old days, what do you mean by family go outside? It means that in the old days, the family is not like today's 5 people a family. No, they have 200 people, 200 people and much, because this is a family supposed to look like hundreds of people. And if you remember the Jiang Zhongjing written in his preface of the Xianghan Lun, he said, I have 200 more, 300 people, and then 70% of them are died, and then 80% because of the Shanghai. Okay, that's why he learned to do Xianghan Lun or something like that. So you can see in the old days, the family is very big, like a society. It is a society. Okay, so you can look at the gua, the hexagram, to you, although the translation is family, but actually means society in today's sense. So the society has to have all this, then the society can grow, make ourselves known, and then become a good city. Okay, and then the next step will be the king arrive to the family and do not pale or sorrow. Good fortune will come. Of course, the king, good fortune will come. And so because now your family make known to the country, even the king notice about you. And then the next step will be there is integrity, but also majesty, and in the end, it's a good fortune. Okay, so a family or this year, so the hexagram telling us that we got to have these 3 basic things: safety, have something to eat, basic stuff, and then we love each other. If don't, then we cannot go to the next level. If we cannot go to the next level, we will not have good fortune. Okay, so that is the hexagram of this year teaching us today, and something that the East, I mean, in Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, they will talk about these kind of things too. But none of them I actually see this. So because it's the wind over fire, right? It's wind over fire. So this could be solar wind. That means in 2023, we could have a very strong wind, solar wind, solar storm, in other words, solar storm coming in. So when the solar storm comes, it will kill the COVID. But some other things will come, but it will, it will change the air traffic. It will interrupt the communication. It will interrupt the satellite, of course. And it will change our human behavior as well. Some people say that just like full moon will change our behavior in the full moon. When the solar storm is too strong, every come about 12 years or so, it is that will change our behavior as well. And something that I have to show you this. So now remember this image. The image is wind over fire. Look at the fire. Look at the fire. Fire means sun, right? Sun, right? Wind over the sun. It means that's why we have a solar storm. But today, if you turn on the news, people have been talking about this, the balloon. But balloon, what's balloon? Balloon is also wind over. Look at the image over here. Is it like that? Is it like that? But then what is this? This is actually the solar panel of a balloon. Okay. So yeah, solar is fire, right? So it's fire. So right now the two countries are they're dropping words to each other, because of the balloon. That is the fire. That is the wind over fire. Okay, I'm looking at it, I smile myself, I think. But anyway, so if we look at the predictions, okay, then we kind of borrow things from 60 years ago, 120 years ago, and 118 years ago. Then we might have some idea what we're going to happen. So let's take a quick look about 60 years ago. And we have Vietnam has a group. Kenya, okay, independent. Thousands of people died in Italy. And then President Kennedy was assassinated. And 120 years ago, Henry Ford found his company. Marie Curie discovered the uranium. And then Wright brothers also has a flying machine design. And then 180 years ago, the Opium War, we still, like last year I said, that we're still under the Opium War, the trade war, in other words, the swell of the trade war, of the Opium War. So we have trade war. And then this is the prediction. So the coups occurs at the country along the belt and the road. And remember, the bad things actually in the north, the east, when we look at the compacts, the northeast. So there's no Silk Road in the northeast, but yes, there is if you go to the Europe. Okay, if you go to the Europe, not in China, not in Asia, but the Middle East. And Africa is a place the economy battles. Okay. And then I predict that Japan or Europe got a few thousand people die. Unfortunately, it came true with the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. So yeah, that's meant to be, unfortunately. And I hope we can do it better in terms of helping them. And the Russia and the China are more cooperate, and then somehow that may or may not happen. That is the British and the China encounter big time. Okay, and we know that our political figures is getting old, and young people want to comes in. as you can hear from the news. We will see. But I think just like Kennedy assassinated, I don't think we have anybody being killed, but because of the that, there will be a political shock of that. And I also, but this text actually came very fast. There will be a race between AI and chips and the robotic. And then today we have the chat what? We have the chat robot now. And then I mean, the beginning of the years, there's a chat robot coming out, beat the Googles, and I can see that there are many of them coming before the end of the years. And then the Catholic Church has been suppressed by the communists in China. These years may change. And then there will be a flood in the Yarrow River, which is very rare for thousands of years now. It happens a lot. But this one will be extreme weather. This one, it means the extreme weather continue. The extreme weather continue all over the world. And unfortunately, the wealthy got more wealthy. And because of that, we saw 2000 year has a battlefield in Ukraine, but this year we'll have more than one battlefield. I don't want to guess where it is, but it will happen. That concluded my talk. If you want to take a picture, oh, don't worry, because it is being recorded, so you can always see how many % of them is accurate. Okay, so let me stop sharing, and then I can more concentrate on talking to you guys.
Well, normally I would say that was fantastic, but well, it's a little depressing.
If you look outside, that I mean, you can. It's in some sense there's if you look at the good part of it, it's not as depressing.
Yeah, it's like, oh shoot. So can we open the floor if there's people have questions? Does anybody have any questions for Samson? Because everybody's like, forget it, we're going home, we're giving up.
Hopefully, yes.
Do we have any questions?
Hi, Dr. Samson. This is Robbie. Thank you so much. Hi. Thank you so much for your excellent presentation. I was curious about the appearance of the, well, I guess at this point, multiple balloons or solar above the fire. And I was thinking that, well, I was just wondering what your take is on the difference between them appearing over a landmass and as opposed to, or in contrast to, over water. Also, I find it difficult to believe that that's something that's just happening from, say, China to the US. I just think that it's really possible that the US does some similar things too. Anyway, I guess that's a sort of question and comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Yes, the balloon flying over or the satellites spying each other, this is not new, but it happens to be this year. It happens to be wind over fire, and then things being, heat up. And then remember what Confucius said? Confucius said, this year we want to say something which is truth, and we want to do something persistent. The reason he said that, because when he see this hexagram, he did not see these two qualities. That means we lack of these qualities. So I would say this back and forth, this balloon things between the two countries will be just like the wind. We will just like the wind. And up to a point, everybody is tired, and then they would just drop it. And then nobody, I mean, at the end of the day, if I want to spy you, both country has an excellent satellite. Excellent satellite. You have to understand how great their satellites are and how precise their satellites are. And it's not just one satellite can do that. There is a system of satellite to make sure, you know, to make sure to do their spying. So I think it is just a wind blowing away, and then it will disappear. But before it disappears, it would just like fire, just a frame it up, and then hit it up, and then, you know, disappear.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
There is a question from Demetrius in the chat. It says, can you explain Jupiter's role in the water rabbit year? Oh,
okay. This is like that. The Jupiter surrounding the sun, according to our observation, the Earth observation, is 11.8 years surrounding. So the Chinese actually think that, oh, okay, it's so close to 12 years. So they actually, instead of making a Jupiter become a real star, they actually make it a symbolic star, just like a mathematics. So this the cosmos, one cycle is 12 years. So that's why we have 12 zodiacs, the year of the tiger followed by the year of the rabbit, and so on. That's why the 12. So each one of them can be considered as the position of the Jupiter in every year. So if you divided the circle into 12 parts, and then the Jupiter will actually move from 1 year apart. So that's what happens. I hope I answered your question, Dimitri.
He says yes. Any other questions? You can just ask them, or if you want to put them in the chat, I can read them. No questions? Okay, so John asks, any tips for learning more about the Book of Changes? There are so many books, but where would you suggest for someone to start? And you also, don't you, and I'll have him, John, I will have him answer that. But Samson, don't you also have a study group as well?
Yeah, but since the COVID, we kind of we only meet in the online. But that group is in Auckland. But in school, I mean, in our 5 branches university, we have I-Ching classes as well. And I think the school, I mean, in the master level, they want to do it in a regular basis. We'll see what happens. But the fact is, to answer your question, John, of course, there's so many of them, and it will be fun, at least to me. Although I sometimes I do fortune telling, but fortune telling is not really my I really want to do. I always want to do like what you saw, what I just did. You look at the hexagram, and then you saw the translation of the lines, and then from the lines you create an image, because each line is supposed to tell you an image, and then from the image, and then you make sense out of it. And it's the ambiguity. Why is so ambiguous? Because this is a prediction book or fortune telling book. So that's why if it's too divine, it cannot become a divination book. So it's not very defined, but that's the image comes out. The image is defined enough for you to see. For example, the lock of the first line, the lock of the door, and no regret. Okay, lock of the door, what's that mean? That mean many, many things. You can shut yourself down. You can mean safety. But then if you read all the lines together, and then you make a picture. Okay, the fourth line telling you that the family become glorious. So, you think the family become glorious has to have certain condition, right? Oh, okay, maybe the first three lines telling you the condition. So you can translate that the lock of the door, no regret, means safety. Okay, that's my translation. So you create the image, and then you do the interpretation yourself. And this is always a self-learning method. This is also a meditation method. So to answer your questions, what book you want to start? I think I want to start with Carl Jung. He's not a fortune teller. He's a psychologist, but he did wrote a few things about the Book of Change. And then you start from that. You can start from who write things about Jung, about the I-Ching, and then you can start from there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have another question in the chat. Sorry about my cat, everyone. How will this year generally affect for people? I'm sorry, for people born with the same animal year?
Depends on how old you are. If you are, say, so you have 12 years, right? So if you're 60 years old, and this is the time, especially for the rabbit. If the rabbit is 60 years old now, then this year easy to get. So you don't want to climb up to the mountain, climb up to the tree, because it's easy to get hurt from the joints and stuff. If you are 48 years old, that is not a big deal, actually. I mean, still this year will still be a good year. But if you are a 36 years old, then this year will have, you won't hurt your body, but you will have, may have a chance to hurt your body as well. But as a 36 years old rabbit, it's more tough in the sense, and you want to proceed, but it's very difficult to proceed. So this year actually is the year to slow down and learn something new and stuff like that. So the 12 years old and then 24 years old, these two are okay. It's very fair. It's not like very bad or very, very good. Yeah.
I'm also Joanne, whoever asked that, I'll also a little bit different than what Dr. Samson did. We had someone last month do it on the pole star astrology, and she specifically talked about the rabbit, the animals. So I'm going to pop that link into the chat. If anyone's interested, it goes to our DAOM page. But other questions, these are great questions, guys. Keep them up. Get away with one tip for good. What's advice that you'll give to people, I'm assuming 36 years old?
Let me. What 36 years old. So learn something, actually. Learn something is a good thing to do, I think. And learn something, follow this follow the advice of the Confucius, because this year is the fire, the wind over the fire. So learn something, like you speak, but you speak the truth and speak. So maybe join Toastmaster, or and you work on something that you be persistent. So yeah, that will combine the hexagram and the fortune of that 36 years old rabbit.
Anything else?
You're welcome.
All right.
Yeah, I guess I have a question. It's Robbie again. I'm wondering about looking towards the bagua for every day, like for instance, making a decision on a better than not day to take an exam or to do something with a bank account. Could you direct us towards that?
Even though I wasn't really sure what Liu Ming was teaching was relevant yet. I started studying pole star.
Who's playing the pole star?
Oh, I see. Actually, when I would click on it, it was running immediately. Without me knowing about.
Oh,
sorry.
no worries.
I said, why is this?
It's like, let me shut that one down. That was
So,
weird.
yes. Thank you, Ruben. So you're talking about using the bagua for your everyday use, or for what type, the day of the exam, or stuff like that. So
Yes.
it's actually related to your own bazi. Okay. So, but of course, if you do it every day, then it will be very tiresome. So if you pick the month, it will be a little bit easier if you rather than you do it every day, because as you can see, the bazi already have 8 Chinese characters there. That 8 Chinese characters, the 5 phases involved in this, plus the big cycles. So we have 10 plus another 2 coming from the year, so it's 12 of them, plus another month. That means 14 of them. So you have 14 Chinese characters, 7 on the top, 7 on the bottom. And they are all have the 5 phases combining to each other. So they will be make a mess. So it will be easier just to look at the year, okay, like the year of the rabbit. How are you doing this year of the rabbit? Then pick the best month, and then to do your exam or to do the things that you like to do. That will be a better strategy, because otherwise it will be just very confusing for you. Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Next question says, may you please share again the name of the book that you mentioned to start learning I-Ching?
Oh, I was talking, not the book, I was talking about the famous psychologist Carl Jung, and he wrote something and about the I-Ching, and then if you go to the internet and you found someone who actually wrote about this, and maybe you just start from there, that will be easier to absorb, and helping ourselves as well, understanding. I mean, there's so many ways to study the Book of Changes, but I think as a modern person, starting the way like Jung did, that will be fun. At least maybe not for you, it's not your cup of tea, but at least you see how he did it. It will be fun.
Well, so there aren't any questions. I will ask Dr. Samson. I know we've covered a lot of stuff, but what is your best advice with what you're seeing in the I Ching for us for this year? Overall.
Yeah, because as the hexagram said, there's some lies, or people are not very honor what they say, and then people are not very consistent of what they do. So I would say, and then this is the family, right? And then if you recall how to become a good society, a good family, right? And then we have to be safety, have something to eat, and we have a relationship. Then the society will be great. And then we look at, we are in California, and we look at California, which is the wind over wind. And the wind over wind is basically I mean, the hexagram is the line basically saying that there's a cloudy place but not going to rain and something like that. So combine all this. So I would say that we meditate more rather than reading too much news, especially the YouTube news, writing too much. And then we only take it as a grain of salt. And we want to think more ourselves, learn more ourselves. That means we don't want to learn more from the news, but we want to learn more from the ancient. Then we share to the people that we love, like in the society. We all, if you all are already in a group or in an organization, or in a church, that will be a good thing to start, and then therefore making the bonding of the organization stronger, and but not because we are chatting about some ABC news, or but rather we're chatting about something valuable, something truth about it.
Well, thank you. And thank you again. Like I said, Samson is always one of my favorite presenters. He always brings so much to the table, and one of my, well, I don't have favorite faculty, but I do love having you come and teach for us. So thank you for spending time with us tonight, and thank you for giving us a great review of the year. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for everyone for attending. I appreciate seeing, I almost said old students, but they're not old, our alumni. I'm seeing faculty. I'm seeing new to us friends that we're now making who are visiting our DAOM for the first time. So thank you guys for all taking time out today and spending time with us. I think everyone has my email. If you're not on our email list and you forgot to say that you wanted to when you registered, let me know, because we do some fun stuff every month. And then thanks everyone.
Yeah, great.
Oh, yep. Dong is in at our Virginia. So he's safe from the California stuff. And Marie France is in Chicago, so she's good. We'll be moving there. All right, I'll see everybody next week.
Okay. Cheerio. Bye-bye. Good night.